What's up out there, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope you guys are doing well out there on this Monday. I'm doing well myself, and I hope you had a very nice, relaxing weekend. Well, if you guys remember last year, there was a situation that took place in New York on a subway car where you had this brother right here, young man, Jordan Neely. Okay, he was a Michael Jackson impersonator, performer, and what have you. And he was on there, dancing, whatever, and what have you. And he had a situation. Some say it was like a mental breakdown or whatever, And I guess he was, basically having a hard time. He said he was asking for food or whatever, money to get food or what have you. And he had a mental breakdown, and flew in some fits of anger, so they said, and was threatening people. I don't know about that particular situation, but you had this sub right here, Daniel Penny, snuck up behind the young man and got him in a chokehold, And as a result of that, this young man actually succumbed to that chokehold. Jordan Neely did. Now, mind you, you had a lot of people standing around just witness this thing going, instead of just getting Daniel Penny and saying that's enough. But they stood there and watched Daniel Penny choke this man, from behind on the ground, had him in this UFC chokehold for 5 to 6 minutes. Some say it was 6 minutes in total. Well, as a result of that, they put on an arrest. They arrest Daniel Penny, and it's only because people stood up about it and actually, protested to arrest him because, it was murder. And that's exactly what it was, And so the trial went on and on and on and on. Okay, well, today at about 11:30 p.m., okay, the jury found this man not guilty. And you wonder why I say another injustice in America. That's exactly what it was. We watched this whole thing captured on video. You understand? There was no need. Everybody know that a chokehold, like from behind on a person, can be fatal. You see what I'm saying? And you had Daniel Penny here, took the notion to go and do this to Jordan Neely. And the injustice of this so-called jury that deadlocked last week, like saying that they basically couldn't agree that Daniel Penny maliciously intended on actually choking Jordan Neely. What a bunch of bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing but bullshit. Okay? Now it's in the word. I can't remember what scripture right now, but it's in the word, the Most High's word, that they will commit crimes against us, the people, basically, I'm paraphrasing, and then find themselves not guilty. That's exactly what we're seeing right here. Okay? Now, I'm sure if the shoe was on the other foot and we had Jordan Neely sneak up behind, be a coward like Daniel Penny was, and sneak up behind him, get him in a chokehold, and he could have been actually doing something wrong, you know what I'm saying, on the subway. I mean, putting other people's lives in danger. And Jordan Neely did the same thing to Penny. I guarantee you, Jordan Neely would have been found guilty for, murder. You see, he wouldn't have been looked at as no hero, no Marine, and all that kind of stuff. I can look and tell that Daniel Penny is nothing but a coward. I have an eye for that. You know what I'm saying? Cowards do things to boast their, bravery. You know what I mean? They want to be looked at as some kind of hero. This is what cowards do. All right, and that's just what it is. But without further ado, what I want us to do is check out, this news clip. I have two of them, and then we'll get back to the commentary. We're going to check out the news clip, you know, uh, about what they, how they came to this agreement, you know what I'm saying? The decision, in other words, to not find Daniel Penny guilty, and what the people feel about that. So without further ado, let's look at this. Check this out.
Breaking news. The jury has reached a unanimous verdict in the case of Daniel Penny. He's been found not guilty on the charge of criminally negligent homicide. Now remember what was at stake here. The jury could not agree on manslaughter. They failed to agree twice. The judge gave them another bite at the apple on this lesser charge, negligent. They now say not guilty. What does this mean? Let's first go to reporter CB Cotton, who's outside the courthouse, to find out how this has played out. Now, I hear an immediate melee of protesters, CB.
Hi, Harris, that's right. Protesters are pretty upset. There's a large crowd of them out here next to me. You can hear them rattling the police barricades, saying no justice, no peace. And what they're yelling now follows a series of threats that they hurled earlier as the defense walked in with their client, Daniel Penny, telling the defense team that Daniel Penny can have no peace here in New York if he's found not guilty on this lesser charge, criminally negligent homicide. And from what I can hear right now, they're repeating those threats. They are very angry. Harris, I also want to mention there were a couple people here this morning to support Daniel Penny, but the anti-Penny crowd far outweighs them, and they seem pretty upset. We're seeing police officers come out here in droves to try to keep the two groups separated for now. But I'm looking at our notes from the courtroom, and it seems like this is the first time we've seen some real emotion from Daniel Penny. His attorneys told me this morning that this trial has understandably taken a toll on him. He's been spending time with family and friends to try to stay calm. And our courtroom reporter telling me for the first time she sees him visibly smile, now hearing that jurors have decided he is not guilty of criminally negligent homicide. Harris, are you with me?
Yes, CB, thank you. Sorry about that. And we've lost our picture for a second there. Appreciate your reporting. We'll come back to you as the news warrants. That is huge, what CB Cotton was just reporting there. That emotion also that she talked about, color inside the courtroom, the first time perhaps that Daniel Penny has had any sort of noticeable reaction. And of course, when a jury finds you not guilty, that is very different than being divided and sending this case again potentially for a retrial. This is significant, not just for Daniel Penny, not just for subway riders who may have been on that jury who found a way through all of the legal wranglings, it would seem, by what we know as a soft on crime DA who does not hand out the adjudication evenly, we've seen from Alvin Bragg. So this is really important. I want to bring in now Jonathan Turley, Fox News contributor, constitutional law attorney, and George Washington University law professor. Jonathan, before we get into what comes next in all of this, just your initial reaction. This was fairly quick.
It was quick, and it was not entirely expected because this is not obviously how District Attorney Bragg had planned this. The way the case was going was along the sort of design that Bragg had to force a compromise verdict. When the jury deadlocked over the more serious crime, the judge went ahead and allowed them to consider this lesser offense. That is basically what Bragg had hoped, that if he could not get a conviction on the more serious crime, which was unlikely, that they would come back and compromise and convict him on the lesser offense, which, by the way, still came with a potential penalty of 4 years. So I think that the most surprised person in that room may be Alvin Bragg, because you have a jury that apparently couldn't agree on the more serious offense, but then they came back and they said, but we do agree that he's not guilty of the lesser offense. So it's not exactly how this was supposed to play out in his view. And you keep in mind that this is a jury that received an Allen charge. And so that's where the court says, go back and try again. It's a favorite charge of prosecutors because jurors often do then produce a compromised verdict, a conviction for the prosecutor.
I just want to say, I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. Really, really hurts. What are we going to do, people? What's going to happen to us now? I had enough of this. The system is rigged. Come on, people. Let's do something about this.
Let's do something about it. Too often, we have Eric Garner's mother here. There's too often this is happening where we're left alone in this society. We got to stop that. We have to change how we impact each other. Jordan came on that subway car. The first thing he asked for was food, and he was killed. And the person who killed him was not held responsible. We cannot allow this to keep happening. Move on.
Looks like the police are attacking protesters.
Good morning, everyone. Here we stand once again in front of this unjust system. I stood here 10 years ago because they did not give justice to my son with the chokehold. I fought hard to get the anti-chokehold bill passed, which did pass. But it shouldn't only be for police officers, it should be for civilians also. No one deserves to be choked to death. And you know, we're in that courtroom and people are cheering for the verdict. They made the loudest noise, the judge did nothing. But when his father spoke out, they put him out the courtroom. Is that justice? Or what? We can't allow this to keep going on. We have to fight this system. That's what I had to do. I had to fight to get the little justice that I got. I got one police officer fired. There's more that need to be fired. But I tell this family, do not give up. Because that's what they want you to do. They want to discourage you. Just like they tried to discourage me. But 10 years later, I'm still fighting. And I'm not only fighting for myself, I'm fighting for families like yourself. That's why I have to come out when this injustice is done. If this had been the other way, if your family had murdered this so-called innocent guy now, it would have been a different story. He would have been in jail or would have never came out. But they don't do the same to us. It's two justice systems. And we have to stop this. And the only way that we can stop it is to stand together. Those of us who are against what happened, we have to speak up. We can't treat this just like another news story, not another press conference. We have to speak out, speak up, and stand up. So I just say today, we did not get justice once again. And I am saddened. I am truly saddened by this situation because it keeps on happening and no one is standing accountable for their actions. So that means that any civilian could get on the train if they feel threatened and they could choke someone out and they're going to get found not guilty, just like today. This sets a precedent. And we can't let this happen. If the police can't do it, the civilians can't do it either. And I just want you to stand with this family. This family needs you right now.
Right on. Thanks for Thank you. I'm sorry. To Dre, I'm sorry to Chris. I'm sorry that America has failed you. You've come here, you've shown discipline, you've shown strength, you've shown love, you've shown how to carry yourself with composure when you're facing this machine, this American judicial system that cannibalizes our people. But I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say it loud and clear. Let the marchers march, and let the steppers step. Let the marchers march, and let the steppers step. You want to do something about this verdict? Then you go into your neighborhood and you promote black unity. Black people, we are all we have. This system protects every other group except for the very people that built this country. Every group that comes here gets privileges, gets benefits, except for the very people whose fingerprints are on the bricks that built this country. There is no love for black people. There is no love in the system. How can you make a moral appeal to a people that have no moral code? How can you preach love to racists? That got Dr. King killed. How can you promote love to a nation that is built on theft and genocide? That's right. What we preach is unity. Black unity. Stop begging the system to justify our lives. Stop begging this system for justice. When things happen to you, you step up and defend yourself. Just like everybody else seeks justice on their own, just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes. People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Well, now, the brother said a mouthful there. And he was every bit right in the things that he just said. See, it's two things that I think that we have to do as a people. Number one, cry out to the Most High in Yahweh's name to strengthen us and to intervene into our situation. You should always put him first. And second of all, learn to be our brother's keeper. That's the problem with our people. We have no unity whatsoever. We don't. You see, so therefore we're being taken advantage of. And that's just what it is. Now, when the situation with, if y'all remember what Eric Garner's mother just said, that there were actual supporters there of Daniel Penny. User support. Obviously, he had supporters in the jury too. You see? So therefore, there could be no justice in a system that's rigged against you. And I'm talking about the original people of this land. I'm talking about the original people of the Bible, the book itself. There's not going to be any justice when you come across situations like this. So, like I said, ain't but two things that we need to do, and I just said it. Because I know a coward's way. A coward will do something just as long as he's never brought to real justice. You understand? He's going to always do evil, wickedness. You see? As long as he's never held accountable for doing so. And if he thinks that the judicial system in itself is not going to hold him accountable, he thinks he's free to run and do as he will with impunity. Now, the only thing that's going to deter him is when he finds out who he's trying to do these things to stand up and put a stop to him. and make an example out of him. That's the only way that you're going to fight this kind of crap that's happening here in this country. Because, like the brother said, this happens too much. And it's not by coincidence. If they stop police officers from being able to do this, then next thing you know, they switch to another way of getting their evil done. And now you got so-called civilians doing the same thing. You see. That's all I got on this one, people. I want you guys to tell me in the comment section what you think about this particular situation right here. That's if you can comment. But make sure you like and you share and subscribe. People, please remember to live your life as though we're being watched. Simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.